what would you like me to talk about? My time in Germany, or how I went to England, or what I'm doing in England? What would you like to know?
I think almost everything.
Yeah,
Yes.
but maybe we start with your childhood and your time at school here.
Yes. I went to the Goethe Gymnasium in 1930. Well, then in 1933, the Nazis came in. But I must say, I made no animosity from my fellow pupils, or from the masters, for that matter, all except the headmaster they put in after the old one had left. The headmaster, when I came, was Dr. Neustadt, who was Jewish and emigrated to England, where unfortunately he committed suicide. He was a little man, fat little man, and there was always heavy breathing. So we called him, don't tell anybody, we called him the knee child. Not to his face. Anyway, in 1935, we had to leave. And I think most of the masters were very sorry to see us go, particularly the music master, because at the time I was a member of the school orchestra. And he was very emotional when he had to tell me that I had to leave. Anyway, then for 6 months I went to the Philanthropie. Und dann habe ich gearbeitet. I went as an apprentice to a firm called Philipp Deutsch, where we sold leather goods and bijouterie. Till the Kristallnacht. And then everything went. My father had moved to Berlin at that time, and I lived with friends of ours. And after the Kristallnacht, the next day, I went with a friend to the Taunus. But when we came home, they told us the police had called, and I had to report to the police. And like the muggings, I did. And we ended up, we went to the festival where we were all assembled. And then in the end we went by train to Weimar and to Buchenwald. This whole experience was a terrible shock to all of us. The concentration camp was not a nice place to be. And I won't go into details, but the treatment was very cruel. I personally was not assaulted, but or severely assaulted at least. But a lot of the others were. And the first night there, we were put in the little chaff stuff, and we could see through the chinks in the wood what was going outside. And they had a ring of SS men standing round, and one of our teachers from the philanthropy was in the middle, and they chased them with dogs. The dogs were wild, they weren't fed, they wanted to injure the inmates. And in the morning, this poor man was sat down at the exit to the shaft stuff, so we should all see him. He died that day from his injuries. Anyway, another time that 2 inmates had escaped. This was prior to us getting there, by killing an SS man with a shovel out on a working cart. And one of them, just in the SS uniform. The other one was immediately caught. Stood no chance. But the one who just in an SS uniform fled to Czechoslovakia. But the Germans managed to get him extradited, sent back. And that was during the time I was there. They built a gallows, and we all had to assemble and watch this man being hanged. Anyway, in January 1939, my name was called out, and I was released to Berlin. When I went to my father's flat, and I spent the next few weeks learning English, or more English, and then I forget the exact date, but I went to Temple Airfield, and we took off. It was an English plane, and once we were off the ground, we knew we were safe. Arriving in England, I went to stay with some friends for the night, but England had a lot of unemployment at the time, so we could not take any jobs. And I went to an agricultural training institute where we worked on the farm. We run the farm, you know. There was about 30 of us, and we ran this farm till the war started. And then we were allowed to take jobs where there were no English people unemployed. So I went to a farm in Nottinghamshire. This was quite an experience. The day I should have arrived, I couldn't, because there were no trains. It was a very severe winter in 1940. And eventually I sent a telegram when I was arriving, which incidentally arrived 1 hour after me. So that was much help. I took the train to Nottingham. Then I went on the bus, and that bus stopped about a mile from the farm. And I had to trudge through the snow, 3 foot of snow. We don't often get snow that deep in. We did then. So I arrived completely exhausted. After the fall of France, there was an outcry, and most of us were interned. It wasn't like the concentration camp, but we were deprived of our liberty. And I went to 1 or 2 camps, and I ended up on the Isle of Man, which is a small island off the northwest coast. There we went to camp. I did a bit of work on a farm there to earn some pocket money. Am I clear? You can follow me. Yes? No words interrupted. And then in later on, we were allowed to volunteer for the British Army. This is from inside the internment camp. So I volunteered for the British Army. Thank you. We joined a unit called the Alien Pioneer Corps. We were there to do work. And for 3 years, I shoveled coal, which was meant for the married quarters. They got an allocation of coal, and there was always a lot of squabbling about how much, because it was all rationed. And after about 3 years, we were allowed to join other units of the British Army. And I volunteered for the infantry. Yes. Then I went to the training camp. I was made a soldier again, together with all the new recruits. And after 6 months, I went overseas to Italy. I didn't see a lot of the fighting, but I saw, it didn't take part, but went through Monte Cassino, which was completely destroyed by American bombers. Without any profit in it, because the Germans weren't there. Later on, I saw fighting near Rimini, in northern Italy. But then I got sick. I had yellow jaundice, which was prevalent at the time, but which of course meant I had be sent back to a hospital. And when I was fit to go back, I went to a transit camp, and this was when the war in Europe finished. So I then went to Austria, to another unit, to act as interpreter locally. I had to interpret at the local court, which was presided over by a British officer. There was a lot of, we were on the Yugoslav border. There was a lot of smuggling going on, but not very easy to smuggle a herd of cattle, is it? You can't hide it. So we used to catch these people and bring them in. We also had horses. They were originally German army horses, but we captured them, and they were supposed to be for our officers, but I was very friendly with the groom who looked after them, so we went out. And this has great advantages, because you can go out and get drunk. The horse will bring you back.
Don't drink and drive.
Yeah. There was one horse that liked to eat cigarette ends. I remember. And then I went on release, or discharge from the army. The firm I worked for in Germany had an office in England. One of the directors went to England, and I saw him several times. When I was on leave, I went to see him. When we were in Italy, I sent him a box of almonds, which were unobtainable in England. He was very grateful for that. And he fixed me up with a job with two of his salesmen who started their own firm. So I didn't have to wait long to get fixed up. And from there I went on. So I worked for several firms who usually managed to go bust. I hasten to add, not through my fault. Anything you'd like to hear, to ask me.
What can you tell about Mr. Neustadt and Mr. Eichhorn? Because we saw in our files about both were typical, totally different directors here at the school.
Yeah. Dr. Neustadt, of course, as a sextaner, you don't see a lot of the director, do you?
Yeah.
So, but his replacement, he made his presence felt. No Jews in this, no Jews in that. A very nasty man. He was also a drunkard. He'd been sacked from a previous job because of drunkenness. But he was a good Nazi, so they got him back. The Goethe Gymnasium.
You also heard of Dr. Steinthal? We found a small file that he had also to leave the school, but we don't know why, anything about him.
I remember my Klassenlehrer, Dr. Pfeffer.
We had to read a lot. He was writing, and his handwriting is almost impossible for us to read. Because he's writing the old German language.
Yeah, that's right.
We had to read a lot of his handwriting in the archive.
Yeah. Yes, he taught German and French. And then later on, Professor Kreusel, the music teacher I mentioned earlier, was completely bald, not a hair on his head, like an egg. And he used to take his baton and push it through our hair. I had more then. And he said, "Now you do it to me." Yeah. So, what else can I tell you?
Did you notice any change between 32, 33, 34 in the years here in school when
No.
Nazis took over the power?
Yeah. Not in the school, not till this new director came. Yeah.
But the coming of Mr. Neustadt was the point of change in school, or did you
No, Dr. Neustadt was here when I joined the school. He was the director then. Yeah.
Aisha, yeah.
Yeah, and on Friday afternoons, we used to go to the football field, play football. And I didn't like that. I used to hide in the bench. I'm not a great one for sport. Yes. So I don't know what else I can tell you.
I have a question. Did you visit the Landheim?
Yes, sir. Went to the Landheim once, yes.
Do you like it?
Yes, it was very nice. Yeah.
What did you do out there?
Well, we had lessons for about 2 or 3 hours a day. And the rest of the time we could roam free. We had more liberty there than we had known anywhere else. At school, Yes.
Same as nowadays, I think. Landheim is still existing, and
Yes,
our groups are still visiting Landheim once or twice a year, so they have a lot of experience in being in Landheim.
Yeah. No, we only went once. It was very popular. There were many classes to go. Yeah.
How old were you when you had to leave Goethe Gymnasium? Or in which class you've been?
15. 16 or 15. Yeah.
Was it hard?
Yes. It was tough to go, and the philanthropy, of course, taught in a different way, different subjects, in different ways. So in some I was ahead, in some I was behind. mathematics was always my weak point. My brother could do it, he was 2 years younger. He could do the things I should have done. My father tried to explain, but usually ended up in tears.
After Mr. Neustadt had left and the new one had arrived, Mr. Eichhorn, I think, you said that was the turning point.
That's right.
You said also that there were no animosity whatsoever by your classmates.
That's right.
After that, were there any?
No.
No.
I mean, they didn't say anything for me, but they didn't say anything against me, you know. Yeah. They're very nice. Yeah.
What changed then?
It's only the teachers were instructed to, you know, throw us out and things. Yeah.
And you were forced by a law to leave. That's right.
I'm not sure about that, but we had to leave. That's definite.
And there have been more Jewish students who had to leave with you.
That's
You
right.
went together to the philanthropy then?
I think so, but I'm not quite sure. Of course, Frankfurt had a large Jewish population, and there were a lot of Jewish fellow pupils with them. On religious instructions, the class split into 3. The Catholics went to one classroom, the Jews went to another, and the Lutherans stayed where they were. But the teachers were.
Your family has been religious?
No, we weren't religious. Religious Jews didn't send their children to the Goethe Gymnasium.
But what else?
Philanthropy, and there was the Orthodox went to Rudolf Hirsch. So, yeah. But of course, socially, we couldn't mix when I started working, and we went out together. We stayed together when I was old enough. I was sent to country. We used to go to different houses to do this. And when the dance was over, we all had to take a girl home. My first experience, I would say. But when we took them home, then the boys used to go to the Wirtschaft. We used to drink. And I remember my father saying when I got home reasonably early, and I said, "Well, let's throw you out." Yeah. My father didn't survive the war. He had a heart condition anyway. And we had a very short letter which he sent in 1942 to some friends in America who weren't in the war by then. And said he had to leave, and that was it. My mother died in 1936. She had cancer. And her mother, my grandmother, who was, of course, an older woman, had I don't know what it was called, but it's a deterioration of her spine. So she was bedridden as well. And she didn't live with us, she lived with an aunt of mine. And on the morning that my mother died, she completely collapsed. She died a week later. You didn't recognize anybody except me after that. And after that trauma hit. Now, I don't know what else happened to her.
How did you come to leave Buchenwald?
Well, we had the appel, and they read out certain names. And you had to go up there and report to the main gate. You were then lined up somewhere. You had to sign a paper that nothing was taken from you, you were fairly treated, all this nonsense. That's all very official. But, you know, it didn't mean anything. I think we were taken by a lorry down to the station. Yeah.
So it's actually a really short time because
Yeah.
it's cool things.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
But you had somebody who helped you, who was asking for you that you could leave, or how?
Well, my father had
managed?
been in touch with some acquaintances in England, and they'd arranged for me to get a visa to come. It was very strict in those days, visas, and not like today, travel from country to country without a passport. Well, go on then. Ask me.
Back to Germany, you have said there are no reactions in the school, but whether outside, let's say by parents or friends who played it outside, or in this school where you danced, or by playing soccer?
Well, there were demonstrations in streets, and you know, but I didn't. Apart from the Kristallnacht itself, there wasn't very much. Well, yes, there were. This was earlier. The Nazis marched one way and the communists marched the other way, and there were clashes and the police. But we kept out of this, you know. It wasn't our fight. But they, yes, we lived in a big house divided into flats. And the caretaker, worked in the factory, and he came home one day and he said, they dissolved the union, you know, the trade union. He was heartbroken. But, you know, this happened. So,
Did your parents and friends think that it would be possible what happened then after 33?
No. They always said, "Oh well, you know, we had so many different governments. This won't last." You see, they all have this attitude. My father took that attitude, and most of his friends. But my father's brother, my uncle, he lived in Karlsruhe, and he was a convinced Zionist. And when they came to power, he said, "I'm going." And he sent his daughter, who was very attractive. He sent her off immediately. She went by train to Genoa and then took a boat to Haifa. And he went with his other two sons and his mother, my grandmother. And they, in those days, it wasn't very easy to get into. It was then Palestine. But he had sufficient money to immigrate there as a capitalist. You had to have £1,000 to be a capitalist. I don't know how much he had, but anyway, he bought a farm, and of course he knew absolutely nothing about the country or how to grow them. He was a gynecologist. My cousin, who was a year younger, didn't go to school. He had to go out and be a goat herd. Yes, I'd lost touch with my cousins for a while. But we
can go on.
We've been to see them. Unfortunately, they're very awkward people to get on with. My girl cousin married out there. She's older than me. When we saw her, she lives in the past, you know, showing photos of tours she did. You can't do that. You can't live in the past. No. My younger cousin, he married an impossible woman. They came to see us in London. We invited them to come. They treated us like a hotel, you see. We go out somewhere, they pay for their own things. Who likes to pay for ours, you know? I mean, but anyway, that's neither here nor there.
So Great Britain is your home now, and you?
Yes, England's my home now. I've got British nationality. I married an English woman whom I originally met when we were both trying to learn Spanish and had evening classes, but we didn't get very far with the Spanish. But there it is.
But what does it mean to come to Germany for you? Is it a place full of memories of your childhood, or feel you more like a tourist?
Mixed emotions. But of course, all this, Uber and everything. This is all new to me, you know. We did have trams in my day, that was it. And trains. Yes, we used to go on Sundays. My father took us to the towns every Sunday. Well, nearly every Sunday. It was my mother's day off. Used to take the tram and the train to Frankfurt or Gymnasium. And then we used to walk in the mountains. I still remember the coloured signs on the trees, the certain walks, you know. Been there. I'm told they're still there. Yesterday we went to the Saalburg, which is very impressive. We haven't got that many Roman remains in Britain. Of course we have, but not as extensive as the Saalburg, which interested my wife, who's interested in ancient history. She researched her family history because, you see, she had a German grandmother who she never knew, but she came to England as a servant to the German ambassador. No, in the last century this was. See, then she met my wife's grandfather, they married. And she gave her children names. What's this music?
This new class is starting.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Yes.
What about the roots of your family? You always been to Frankfurt, your family?
My wife's family. Well, my father was born in Paxheim, the Pfalz, and he lost his father very early in life. I mean, he never knew his father, and his mother then moved to Karlsruhe, where I think they were brought up by an uncle. And then he eventually came to Frankfurt to marry my mother. Now, her family, and I'm trying to trace the family grave, but her family goes back in Frankfurt to the end of the 30 Years' War. We can trace them that far back. And to run a successful textile business. My grandfather and my uncle. My father himself was a jeweler, wholesale. And when the trouble started, people tried all sorts of things to get transfer valuables because the Nazis stopped taking money out after a while. And they had made hollows in their shoes to put, rings in. In the courts.
And your father planned that you should take over the business from him? Or?
No. Neither my father nor me were ever interested the jewellery business. My father used to deal with pearl necklaces, and he was when he was alone, you know, when he had to dismiss all his staff, he used to sit at home and threadle his necklaces, you know, one at a time, and then a little knot after each pearl. So if the necklace broke, you only lost one pearl, you see. The patience that required is immense. It used to take hours.
We have here in school a list where all the students who were Abiturienten had to announce what professions they wanted to become. What plans did you have?
I didn't have any plans.
I
didn't take the Abitur, you know. I left before.
Yeah, but before you had to leave, when you at the age of 14, you didn't have any imagination.
Yes, I wanted to be a doctor.
Ah,
Yes, because I had several uncles who were doctors, and you know, that interested me to heal other people. But it came to nothing. Who knows what might have happened? Yeah. Any more questions? Anything you want to know? Life in England. You drive on the left. Very confusing and
is this I guess this isn't the first time you are coming to visit to Germany.
no. A couple of years ago, my wife belongs to Anglo-German Association, and they arranged a trip by coach to somewhere near the Rhine. I forget. No, further north. Further. Anyway, we went there, and but of course, the people on the coach were all, you know, English with German ancestry. Yes, we took a boat trip to Koblenz. The place where we stayed, small place. Apart from that, we spent one holiday in Austria, Seefeld, near Innsbruck, and we took a tour into Germany, Berchtesgaden, only sort of day at a time.
Was it hard first time to come to Germany? Because sometimes I guess people who left the country for a long time and made a lot of bad experience, saying I will never go back and visit this country.
Well, I wasn't going to. The reason why I'm here is that my daughter wrote to the German embassy in London saying that I was born in Frankfurt. I wouldn't go back unless I was invited. And of course the invitation followed because there is a large group of us, former Frankfurters here, and I must say Frankfurt seems to do its level best to compensate for, and there we are. That's how we come to be here.
But you also know people who are telling, I don't want to go to Germany, or got an invitation and refused?
I don't know anybody who refused. I mean, these trips seem to be arranged every year.
Yeah.
So some may have been. My brother, who lives in Holland, he's been here. He goes every year, goes walking in the mountains in Austria, of course. He lives in Holland, which, as you know, is very flat. He leads the mountains. And he's, in fact, he stayed at the Frankfurter Hof. And I have a cousin in London, but she's married to an Englishman. So I have to tell her about this. With strict instruction. All right. But there are two people in our party whom I knew as boys. They went in the Goethe Gymnasium. They refused to know me, so I can't only know. They're both Americans now. They don't remember me. I remember them.
You are talking of Mr. Schwab and...
No. These two aren't with us. They did not attend the Goethe Gymnasium. I knew them socially outside. Yes.
Something totally different. We found a case of the, how do you call Hausmeister? You know Mr. Emmel?
Yes, Mr. Emmel played the trumpet, and he also liked his drink. Yeah. Emmel, yeah. Little fellow was a cavalryman, legs like this. Emmel. Yeah.
Yeah, because Dirk and Ori found something in the file, that there was a kind of fight between him and a Hayot. Was it? Yeah. Hayot Führer?
Think.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this. Must have been after my time.
Yeah, and he had to go. He had to leave the school.
Yeah. He was accused of that he was drunk at the time by Mr. Eichmann. And some of the teachers said that he couldn't have been drunk, and they opposed against most, and so it was quite an interesting case.
Yeah. That must have been after my time, after I left. Yes. We used, in the classrooms, there was a little aperture in the wall, and in the middle of that was a thermometer. And in the summer, when the temperature rose above a certain degree by 10 o'clock, then we used to get hitzefrei. Yeah. We tried to massage. It never achieved it, you know, a thick glass, you couldn't get at it, you know. But it was, Emil had to have inspector. Yeah.
Yeah, nowadays, this year it didn't happen. But you got hit so far.
No.
It's more strict. You can always get hit so far after 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
So.
That's right. What is your school day now? What time do you start?
Okay.
8 o'clock. And finish at what time?
Depends. Generally at 1:30 p.m. Yeah, 1:15. So.
Yeah. Yeah. The school day is different in England. They don't start till 9, but they work in the afternoon. They have lunch at school, and then they work in the afternoon, and don't finish till about 3, 3:30. Yes. And when have you got ferien? Yeah.
2 weeks.
In 2 weeks' time, yes?
Then
Yeah.
you write the last test.
Yeah. Yeah. Exams. Yes. In England, they're absolutely mad on exams, you know. At 7, at 11, at 40, they keep on and on. Because in my days, the teacher used to make marks in his little book, you know, and you got a report based on that, not on silly tests. Well, some people are nervous writing an exam paper, but I was very good at it, and it distorted to be assessed all through the years much better.
So at your time, there weren't any tests announced.
No, only the Abitur.
This was the only one.
Yeah.
But you wrote tests, or was it just oral marks? Again, I asked whether you wrote tests or you never did.
No, I never did.
So you got your marks through what you said.
Yeah.
Not bad.
And there wasn't any control of your work, of your homework, for instance?
Oh yes, this was
Yeah.
taken into account, yes. Once, I remember, I wrote an essay in German. It was about 20 pages long, and it hadn't got a comma in it. Completely forgot about the commas. Oh, you get marks for homework. Yes, that was taken into account.
We also saw that there was twice a year Abitur here in school. For a while. Sometimes it was.
I think when they took the Abitur, the younger pupils weren't in school. They had peace and quiet.
Yeah, that's the same. Like on Tuesday
Yeah.
for us.
Yes. You still have a school orchestra?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. It's very strange. We had plenty of strings, violins, cellos, but no wind instruments. Our art master played the flute, and Herr Immel played the trumpet. And all the rest had to be played on a harmonium. Yeah.
And Thursday you have the school concert.
Oh yes. Yeah, on Thursday I shall be going home. I'm afraid. Yes. Now in English schools they're very short of string players. So all the wind, clarinets, oboes, bassoons, horns, trumpets.
Were you in the choir or in the orchestra?
I was in the choir till my voice broke, and then in the orchestra. Yeah, I was a principal second violin. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we can show you some examples of our work we did in this group. That's a kind of documentation.
Oh yes,
we did. I guess that's cool, like it looked before.
Yeah.
And maybe this building still exists.
Yeah,
it's
Unfortunately, German.
Maybe you know somebody.
I was at the school.
Yeah. You remember the teacher here?
No, I can't remember.
Yeah, it's a pity we don't have the original here. For example, we have the percentage of Jewish Catholics and Protestants.
Yeah, this 921. Yeah. Yeah. A large proportion.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always around 30%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we found out.
Yeah, was in the Untersekunde left.
In 36? Or
35. 35.
Yeah. this is from the Abiturlist.
Yeah.
You find yeah, this one is concerning how to say in English Antrag auf Erkennen. Da ist mein Englisch so schlecht.
Yeah.
What's in English?
What?
This one is Anerkennung der Hochschulreife. Ein Antrag. Ich war schon 33 und sollte für diese Abiturienten auch noch die Hochschulreife anerkannt werden. Das war ein Antrag, der gestellt wurde. Yeah. But this is what they were always writing. Ein Zeugnis für jeden Abiturienten.
Yeah.
For each one. So we have of Mr. Katz. It was from 1930, I think 34.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, we found a letter of someone who had to leave Goethe Gymnasium because he was the son of a yeah, so that's the old fashioned writing.
Yes.
It's,
He had to learn that.
yeah.
Yes.
You still write this way?
No.
No?
Once you get to England, you know it's all Latin.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a list of Abitur in Deutsch. So, and we found also some foundation like the Erwin Weid from Speyer Stiftung and Paul Salin Stiftung existed at this school. I think this is also from Max Rudolph. He's a, how you say, dirigent?
Dirigent is the conductor.
Yeah, we have. He gave a book to the school about the art of conducting. Yeah.
Now I'm afraid I've got to ask you to let me visit the toilet.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Well, my name is Goethe. I'm here in 8th grade and, well, yes. My name is Bridget and I'm in her class.
I see.
They had first to write a test, huh?
Yeah.
Mathematics?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, we still have I just take a look at our list. We just prepared to think about some question, and you were already telling most of the question we had. So, what you just talked a little bit just about religious life of your family. You didn't have many contacts to the Jewish community, or was it?
No, I used to go to the Freiherrenstein synagogue. I was a believer, if you like. But during the war, I lost all belief. I thought, how can there be a just God with all this going on? So I'm now agnostic. I will never deny my Jewish background, but I'm not a believer. We never had kosher food at home, so I'm quite used to that. So, what questions you got for me? Anything? Go and ask me.
Okay, your family is typical for a lot of Jewish families here in this area in Frankfurt West End, and
yeah, I suppose it was, yes. But yeah. Yes, reasonably. So yes. My father came from a more orthodox background. My mother wasn't. In fact, some of my relations on mother's side have become Christian.
Was there any contact to Orthodox in Frankfurt East End?
No. We were completely separate. We did not mix socially. At least I don't know. And how do you enjoy speaking English? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Maybe someone of you can explain the Inter-Abitur. I'm not involved, so we have something special here at school which is called Inter-Abitur. Some of you are doing this, so maybe you can explain what's this.
In the I think 7th grade, there is a certain test. You can qualify yourself for an parallel English course, but it's more difficult, you could say. And if you stay in this special inter course, as it's called, you can make in the end, in the 13th grade special exam, which allows you to I'm not sure, to study in the
study in America or in England or wherever you want. It's the same as the German Abitur, but you do it in English, and you have 6 different classes where you get where you have to make some tests, and that's called the full IB. And then there is so-called part IB, that is you choose the class the classes you want to be tested in, and then you get tested. And with this special certification, you can study wherever you want in the world. But not in Germany, you can study only the IB. And so
you seem to speak very good English. Because Germans always stand out in England because they have difficulty with pronouncing the TH and the W. The V's and the W's. It's the W sound is not an English sound, nor is the TH. You see, Spaniards and Greeks have no problem with that.
How good was your English when you came to England?
Well, it wasn't all that wonderful, but I've improved since. Yes, it's getting into the vernacular. There are large differences in the speech of, dialects, and there's some dialects which are very difficult to understand in English. Even my wife, who is English born, has difficulty when you get somebody from Ireland, from the bogs. They're very broad and they're very difficult to understand.
Do you also have problems?
Well, some people who talk the Queen's English I can understand, and other dialects that, you can understand. In the West Country, they have difficulty with their genders. There is this story of some children playing in the road, and the mother, or a woman, seems to be calling them, and they're taking no notice. And another adult says, "Haven't you heard being called?" And one of the boys says, "Her ain't a-calling we, us don't belong to she." But the West Country dialect, I always get the genders wrong.
But here in school you start with Greek or Latin?
French.
French? You start with French?
Then Latin, in the 4th year, and Greek in the 6th year. And the first Latin sentence we learned was lupus bestia fera densis silvis odapae esia habitat.
that's a long sentence.
It's a real
long sentence, yeah.
The first
But
one we learned was Dominus amicum expecta.
Yeah. But of course, when we learned the sentence, of course, I acquired the nickname of lupus immediately.
Have you ever been to Israel?
I have.
What do you think about it?
Well, it's a busy place. What astonished us most in Israel was it was so colorful. Flowers everywhere.
Oh, nice.
Look at that. The people are, Yes, I can't say that. We stayed with relations, but when things are difficult out there, relations with the Arabs. And one day we went somewhere and all of a sudden, police everywhere just stopped us going. Some bomb was around, So this is, we have this, of course, mobilize, but it doesn't often come to the man, but it's disquieting effect, constantly when we are there, everywhere. Every bus driver's got to come.
Nee.
Right, that's good. Ja.
Habt ihr keine Fragen mehr? Also noch gibt es die Gelegenheit. Ja? Ja, du kannst ja auch. Ja, du kannst durchaus nochmal was fragen, was. Ja, kein Problem.
Sure. Opportunity now. Ask now or never. Yeah.
How long was this
What, the school day?
Yeah, how long?
The same as you.
Oh.
We started at 8.
And
And 1:30, 2, so ungefähr nicht. Am Samstag, in der letzten Stunde, haben wir im Orchester gespielt. Und the music master was Herr Heusel.
Der Pfeffer war was für ein Lehrer. Mr. Pfeffer.
Dr. Pfeffer.
Yeah, what kind of teacher was he?
Well, I forget now why, but we called him Pfeffer then, because he always used it then. But he was a good teacher. He was one teacher who had only one arm. He was an arm and after his And the Latin teacher was Dr. Weber. It's a little man. And he wore a tie, which was pre-arranged, you see, and came loose and slipped and stopped.
Do you think they were more national or more liberal in this school? Teacher, the atmosphere?
More liberal, yeah. It was called a humanist education. Yeah, that was liberal. Yes. Yes.
Because sometimes we have different different things from different students. On some say it was liberal, it was okay, and some made bad experience. So it seems to be individual thing. But
no, I think it was all very liberal.
yeah.
Okay.
So, ist die Möglichkeit nochmal?
You sit there silent. Take deep breaths, very serious. Oh, smile.
Yeah, I think we have to thank you for the opportunity to talk with you here, and
It's been a pleasure to talk with you.
I think the pleasure is up to you, to us, and we're going now maybe to the headmaster and have our coffee, or maybe for you tea. I think.
No.
I don't know if we have tea, so
Coffee.
coffee is all right. And I think for us it was a good opportunity and interesting. So listening to you was really interesting that we partly forgot our question. Yeah. Someone like you is telling stories from former times, and listening is a very important thing, and I think it attracts all our interests and concentration. Okay, so I think thank you again in the name from the whole crew. Und ich habe jetzt wieder nochmal einen Unterricht. Oder in Pause noch. So. Ich glaube, Mittwoch wollten wir uns noch mal ganz kurz treffen. Ja? Ich glaube, Mittwoch war ganz kurz wegen dem Redaktionsschluss irgendwie. Oder wegen der Auswertung. Was hat man ausgemacht? 8 Stunden, gell? Irgendwie. Jeder wollte noch mal kurz einen kleinen Beitrag beisteuern. Ich erinnere das nochmal ganz kurz. Ja. Und am Donnerstag dann auch nochmal. Also Mittwoch wollten wir gerade mal durchgucken, was wir noch was bearbeitet hat. Und dann am Donnerstag wollten wir es fertigstellen und zur Schulleitung übergeben. Also die Sachen, die wir zur 475 Jahre Feier bzw. Jubiläum zusammengestellt haben. Ne? Okay. So.
Thank